continuing arguably at a tangent from the last video, the brace of Trans Ams, it's the continuing adventures of them as they divert off on their separate paths. The plan is for the Matchbox one to have a sort of factory style restoration. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I'm quite fond of those. And the MC tyre one's going to get more of a full custom kind of treatment with the lights done and something done with the wheels. I mean, again, if you're familiar with my videos, you know I'm quite fond of those. I like doing both those things. So we're just going to apply both of those equally favoured methods to a couple of pretty much identical looking cars. So I've got the MC tyre one in bits at the moment. I'm doing that same wheel trick with it that I did to the Corgi Juniors Trans Am, the one with the kind of Schweppes logo on it. I'm doing something a little bit different though here, because I'm not applying I'm not actually making the tyres and fitting the tyres using the heat shrink tube this time. Instead, I've rolled out a tiny little bit of DAS modelling clay, and the groove that's in between where I've put the plumber's O-ring onto the wheel, the groove that's left, normally that would be covered over by the heat shrink tyre, but because on this one I think the heat shrink tyres will probably make it a little bit difficult to roll properly, so I'm filling it instead using modelling clay. I've just roll out like a very thin long kind of snake of modelling clay and then apply it into the groove like I'm doing here. You can't see the little pot of water that I've got, but you use that a lot. You keep whatever you're using to manipulate the clay, whether it's your fingers or whether it's a scalpel blade or whatever, you keep that dipped in, keep dipping it in that water all the time. DAS clay tends to take a good few hours to set, but it starts to become slightly difficult to work with as you're actually working with it if you don't keep it wet. It helps to keep the wheels on the base plate because you can keep rolling it like this, like rolling it like it's the car, and that does help with smoothing out the clay and making it fit. Because ideally, you want to make it so that you don't have to do too much sanding at the end. So I'm using a scalpel blade here, kind of how you'd use a spreader if you were using car body filler or something. It's to make it so that there's as little excess clay as possible just by scraping it, so it just nicely fills the groove rather than having a load of excess. Because if you've got a load of excess, it just means you've got a load to sand off later. Not the end of the world, but it's a pointless job that you don't need to create for yourself if you don't have to. So as I said before, the main thing to remember is just to keep whatever it is you're using to manipulate the clay into that little groove, just keep that wet, whether it's your fingertip, whether it's a scalpel blade, just keep it wet. And it's just a matter of playing about with it, like a lot of the things that I do. There's no definite sort of set thing that you do. You just keep playing about with it until you're happy with it, until you feel like the wheel can smoothly roll, but it's also got enough of that groove filled so that when you paint it at the end, which we're going to do in a sec, it just looks sort of like you haven't just filled it with clay, and the wheel was like that all along, which is the idea. So we'll go on to getting the bodies ready for a bit of paint. This is I mean, I've got full videos on how to, like the thing that I just did with the wheels. I think the second video I ever uploaded is the full kind of process of that, of like super gluing the plumbing O-ring to the rim and painting rim and stuff like that. That's all on there. The only bit that I've really gone into on here is like using the modelling clay to fill the groove rather than fitting the tyre. And again, with the body, I've got full videos showing how to get the body ready for paint, going right up to mirror polishing it for the transparent paint. So that's all on there. So I've just shown that briefly. So that's what the wheels look like now. They've got the tyres fitted on, they've got the clay around filling the grooves, and it's just where it needs to be. So onto the glass. Same as before. I mean, I've got a full video that goes into refurbishing Matchbox and any other type of glass that's similar to Matchbox. But this is just a new little thing I've tried out. If you lay all the pads out like this, so we've got the hardest one there, that's like the 1000 grit at that end, and they go kind of clockwise round to about 12,000 grit. So, and all you got to do is you can just keep moving again, I've got water that you can't quite see on the screen, but just keep using the water and just keep going around the different pads like a circuit. And it's I don't know, it makes it feel quicker. It probably isn't, but it probably is. I mean, because you're not having to stop and sort of pick up another pad every 10 seconds or 20 seconds or whatever, so it probably is a little bit quicker, and you can just go around. They're all laid out in front of you, and you just go from one to the other, and whichever sort of pane of glass you're working on at that time will just get smoother and shinier as you go along. Sorry, no, I haven't done it clockwise. I've done it in like 2 rows, so yeah, it goes from the top left, it goes 1,000 grit, 2,000 grit, 3,000 grit, and then we've got, I think it's 5,000 or 6,000 grit, 8,000, and then 12,000 right at the end. So that one that you can't really see me doing properly at the moment. That's like the final one that gives it its final polish. And doing it like this, as I've gone into in other videos, this just completely negates the need for buying any kind of polish. I'm not saying polish is the biggest expense in the world, but the really good ones do tend to be expensive. It's something to lose, something to spill. If you don't need it, you don't need it. So that's just after that was kind of all live. So that's what's happened just in these few seconds that I've been doing that. Obviously, I've worked away at both of the glass units just in tandem with each other, probably swapping about between the two. It's like I say, it can all get a bit random once you get into it, but hopefully at the end you have these two kind of quite perfect looking glass units. So yeah, this was what the scraping the, you see, you forget sometimes when the car's apart, you can just take the wheels off and just work on them on their own. They don't have to be on the base plate permanently. But yeah, this is just a light bit of sanding, because that was what all the scraping was about with the scalpel blade. That was just to minimise the sanding, so it just took a few seconds. So just go picking at. This is important. This is more important than it looks, because this isn't the metal toothbrush that I used to wire brush the body. This is more like a standard toothbrush, really. It's just nylon bristles, but it's good just for getting any little bits of detritus out of there, because that makes a difference once you actually apply any paint to the wheels. If there's anything you've left in there, dust or anything like that, it can really let it down. So to paint the edges of the tyres, for now, I mean, I might change this later, I might go over it with something else, but for now I'm just using an acrylic marker, black acrylic marker. It is paint. It's just as valid as any other paint, really. It doesn't have to come from a spray can just to be paint. And then again, just to make because obviously this one hasn't got a metal base plate like the Matchbox one has, so you won't get that slight sort of two-tone effect if you just leave it black. So for now, I mean, like I say, I might change this later, but for now I'm just going over it with a silver. It's actually a silver Sharpie. They're pretty good. They're not bad paint markers at all. On plastic, certainly. So yeah, just very carefully went down the edges with it, so that'll give it its kind of slight two-tone look. And then I've got another paint marker that's a little bit more of a chromey type silver, but it's not really chrome in any sense of the word when you actually look at it. It's just, it'll give the wheels like quite a nice sort of alloy look. So it'll still have the original design of the MC toy wheels in there, but it's amazing how different they can look when you actually, because the O-ring, the plumbing O-ring, don't forget, it doesn't just give it a tyre, it gives it a wheel rim as well, and it's amazing how much different these designs can look when they're actually in the framework of a wheel rim. So that's how the glass ended up after that little session on all the different pads. So like I say, again, as always, there's no polish gone on there, it's just sanding. So this is where we're at the moment. I've put them both in a coat of that chrome paint for now, because it's a really good undercoat, a really good base for if you want to do a candy paint, because both of these are going to get candy painted. So that's the Matchbox one. The underneath's all done because I've just kind of machined that up a little bit, just using sanding pads and whatever, just so it's a really, really bright, sort of almost chrome, like a natural metal sort of silver look. And then the MC toy one, that's just, I mean, its wheels aren't there yet. They haven't had the sanding bit done to kind of differentiate between the tyre wall and the rim yet. But so this is just where we're up to on this video. There will be another video that shows the completion of these, but there's a bonus, because I did go away and do the airbrushing on the body for the Matchbox one. Again, there's plenty of videos about how to airbrush candy paint that I've already got up on my channel. And I've found a decent set of the Matchbox 8-hole wheels, so I've fitted those, because they did fit the 8-hole wheels to the wide body Trans Am later, but not to this one. Now, The only thing I might need to do with these, because they're a little bit smaller, I think I might need to try and adjust the ride height a little bit, just because it does look a bit jacked up at the back. But we'll get into that on the next video. So for now, this is where we are, and really, this one isn't far off being done at all. A couple of bits of tidying up to do, and a bit of messing about with the suspension, and that's about it. So anyway, thanks for watching.